Sensing presence. This is one of the most basic but super important abilities in the world of hockey. Sensing presence. It lets the user feel the aura of living things. Not like seeing with your eyes. This is more like sensing their spirit, no matter how far away they are, or how well they're hiding. It's kind of like hearing the voice of life, something only people with hockey can truly pick up. Remember when Usopp sniped Sugar from super far away? He wasn't even looking at her directly. She was behind walls and obstacles, but Usopp still nailed the shot. Why? Because he felt her presence. Or take Admiral Fujitora. He's completely blind. But thanks to his observation haki, he can still fight like a total monster, reading the battlefield, knowing where everyone is, just by sensing their aura. It basically replaces his eyesight. But it's not perfect. In one scene, when a character is swallowed by a huge creature, they can only feel the aura inside, not what's going on outside. So yeah, certain environments can mess with it. And if you're new to hockey, your sensing range is small and not very accurate. Still, this is the first step in mastering observation haki. It's what every serious fighter trains first, because in real battles, knowing where your enemy is can mean the difference between winning and getting wrecked. Just a second, thank you to everyone who's been with us since day one. And now, welcome to the Grand Line. Besides the epic ninja world of Naruto, we're also diving into the wild, fun, and emotional adventures of Luffy and his crew. We'll laugh, cry, and go all out together on this journey. So don't forget to hit that subscribe button and join the crew. Who knows, maybe you're the missing piece we need to reach the One Piece. Next, let's get back to sensing power. This is the next level of observation haki's abilities. This one isn't just about knowing where someone is, it's about knowing how strong they are. When you use this skill, you can feel the strength of someone's aura, their fighting power, their danger level. It's like having a built-in power scanner, kind of like a spiritual version of a Dragon Ball Scouter. Beep, beep. This guy's no joke. This gives you a massive advantage in battle. You know what they say, know yourself, know your enemy, and you'll win every time. For example, when Blackbeard saw Luffy again in Impel Down, he could tell right away that Luffy's haki had gotten way stronger since the last time they met in Jaya. And it's not just people. Big Mom used this power during the Onigashima battle to measure the strength of legendary swords, like the Meito weapons. So, yeah, this haki can be used to judge the power of objects too, but this power only tells you raw strength. It doesn't tell you about fighting skills, strategy, or techniques. So if someone's weak but super smart, they can still mess you up if you're not careful. That's why this ability is like a bridge between basic and advanced observation haki. In real battles, sensing power helps you quickly judge the battlefield, especially when facing multiple enemies at once. It's a must-have tool for any top-tier fighter. Sensing emotions. This ability lets the user feel what someone is feeling deep inside, their emotions, and even their pain. This kind of haki takes serious empathy and mental awareness. Now you're connecting to their heart. Take Queen Otohime as an example. She could sense the hidden pain in a thief's heart, and even hear the silent screams of sorrow from Fisher Tiger. That's deep emotional understanding. Thanks to this ability, she could bring people together, to forgive, and to build peace. Another example is Fujitora. In Dressrosa, he used this ability to realize the townspeople weren't mad at the Straw Hats. They were pretending to be angry, just to help them escape. That's the kind of emotional reading that can change everything. Sounds amazing, right? But if you sense too many emotions at once, especially pain, fear, or hatred, it can overwhelm you. If you're not careful, other people's emotions can hurt you. It's like feeling their heartbreak, but multiplied. So, users need to train their mental strength to handle it. Without control, this ability can become a weakness instead of a strength. Sensing intent. This ability lets you read what your opponent is about to do, just a few seconds before they actually move. It's like catching a glimpse of their plan through their aura. This works best when the enemy has a strong killing intent, or they clearly plan to attack. And if you can read that intent in time, you can dodge or counterattack before the hit even comes. Let's take a look at some examples. In the Amazon Lily arc, Boa Sandersonia tried to read Luffy's movements in real time. But once Luffy went into Gear Second, his speed became so insane that even if she sensed his move, Her body couldn't react fast enough. That means knowing the move isn't enough if you can't keep up physically. Then we have Enel, the lightning god of Skypiea. He used this intense sensing haki to predict almost every move his enemies made. But when Luffy started fighting randomly, with no clear thoughts, just pure instinct, Enel's haki completely failed. That's the catch. Observation. Haki can only read conscious decisions, not wild, instinctive, or totally random actions. So if your mind is empty or you move without thinking, your opponent can't predict you. And now, we reach the final ability of Observation Haki. Future Vision. This is the power to literally see a few seconds into the future with clear mental images of what's going to happen. Unlike regular Observation Haki, which is all about feeling and sensing, Future Vision lets you see and hear what's about to happen before it happens. It's like watching a spoiler reel for reality. But here's the deal. This ability is super rare. Rayleigh said you need to fight strong enemies in high-stress life-or-death battles to awaken this power. That's why only top-tier monsters like Katakuri, Luffy, Kaido, and Shanks have it. In a real fight, Future Vision is a total game-changer. Remember when Katakuri saw Luffy's punches before they landed? He could literally turn his body into mochi and let attacks pass right through him. Even Luffy's Armament Hockey couldn't touch him. That's how broken this ability can be. But to keep using Future Vision, you need crazy focus. If you lose concentration, it stops working. Also, it only works in the area you can see, and the future can still change based on how people react. Smart enemies can even use your vision against you, like baiting you into dodging wrong on purpose. Now, let's move to Armament Hockey. The first ability we have to talk about is Hardening. This technique lets you cover any part of your body with haki, like a layer of invisible armor. It boosts both your attack power and defense at the same time. When it's active, the covered part usually turns shiny black. That's how we know it's working. For example, Luffy once used haki on his forehead to block and break Rebecca's sword. Yeah, crazy enough, because normally, rubber is super weak against sharp weapons. But thanks to hardening, he was able to defend himself just fine. However, if you cover too much of your body with haki for too long, it drains your energy really fast. So users need to be smart about where and when they use it. At high levels, the haki even looks like black flames coming off the skin. Big Mom did this when she blocked one of Luffy's attacks without even flinching. That moment really showed a gap in their haki strength. And remember, if your opponent's haki is stronger than yours, they can still break through your armor. So no, hardening isn't some kind of cheat code, but it's still a must-learn for every fighter. You can't move on to the more advanced forms of Armament Hockey until you master this one first. Now let's talk about the next step after hardening, something called Imbument. This is when you put your haki into a weapon or object, like a sword, arrow, or even a stick. It's a game changer, especially for people who fight using weapons. For example, warriors from Kuja Island shoot arrows that are so strong they can break solid stone. That's because they imbue their arrows with haki before firing them. Even Mihawk, the strongest swordsman in the world, said it's super important to always channel haki into your sword. Why? Because it protects the blade and makes your attack stronger at the same time. And yes, haki charged sword slashes still carry that power even after they leave the blade. So, long-distance sword strikes are still deadly. But the craziest example is the sword Enma. Enma is wild. It can actually pull haki out of its user on its own, whether they're ready or not. This makes it super dangerous. If you're not careful, Enma could drain all your haki and leave you totally vulnerable. Or worse, Zoro had to go through a whole process just to control that sword. So yeah, imbuement isn't just about strength, it's also about control and precision. It can eat up a lot of energy, especially if you're trying to power up multiple weapons or objects at once. Emission. This is one of the most advanced and special forms of Armament Hockey. Think of it like a punch that doesn't touch. You release your haki out from your body, usually your hand, and it hits the target without actually making contact. It's basically a shockwave of invisible force that can knock someone back hard, even if you don't land a physical hit. This is way different from the other types. Hardening needs direct contact on your body. Imbuement is for weapons. But Emission, you can punch someone through the air. It's super useful when you're fighting dangerous enemies who are too risky to get close to. For example, Rayleigh used Emission Haki to knock over a huge elephant by blasting its leg before it could stomp. No contact, just boom, and it fell. Luffy also had to learn this in Wano. Normal Haki punches weren't working on Kaido, so he leveled up and learned to shoot Haki from a distance. That's how important this move is. It's a must-have against top-tier monsters. But of course, there's a catch. The range is short. You can't use it from across the battlefield like sword slashes or projectiles. It also uses a lot of energy, and here's the big one. It's hard to learn. Only fighters with really strong and controlled Haki can do it properly. That's why only a few characters in One Piece can pull it off. It's a rare skill that needs both experience and insane focus. Internal destruction. This is the most advanced form of Haki we've seen. Next level power. So what makes it special? Unlike regular Haki that only hits the outside of someone's body, internal destruction lets you send your Haki inside the target. Yeah, inside. You basically break them from the inside out. That means it can go right past armor, shields, or tough skin. None of that matters. You just need to land the hit. That's all. Remember when Luffy had to take off that explosive collar in the Udon prison? He used internal destruction to destroy it from the inside, without blowing it up. And before that, Rayleigh did the same thing to show how precise and powerful this move is. Of course, this ain't beginner level stuff. Internal destruction needs insane control, deep Haki mastery, and killer instinct. It's surgical. Only the top-tier fighters even stand a chance of using this. Logia's counter. Now, if you've watched One Piece long enough, you know Logia users are a nightmare in battle. They can turn into fire, light, smoke, you name it. And regular punches or swords just go straight through them like air, totally untouchable. But that's where Armament Hockey comes in. Instead of canceling their Devil Fruit powers like Sea Prism Stone does, Haki forces their real body to become solid, so attacks can actually hit them. You're basically punching through the illusion and smacking the real them. But remember, Armament Hockey only works if you hit their actual body, not just the stuff they create. For example, Luffy tried to hit Treble with Haki, but failed because he only hit the slime armor, so even with Haki, you've got to aim right. Now, stronger fighters like Katakuri and Kizaru take things further. They can channel Haki into their elemental attacks, probably because of their insane mastery or awakened Devil Fruit powers. And let's not forget, stronger Haki beats weaker Haki. Law cut Virgo clean in half, even though Virgo was using full-body Haki. Why? Because Law's Haki was just way stronger. So at the end of the day, Armament Haki isn't just a tool, it's the great equalizer. It brings Devil Fruit gods back down to Earth, where they can actually get punched in the face. Suppression. This ability is all about pure willpower. The user releases a wave of intense spirit pressure that can scare or control people out. It's like flexing your soul so hard. But it's not just about knocking out random grunts. This power works in layers, depending on how strong your will is compared to your target. For example, animals might get scared and run away. Some, like the Kraken Surume, can be completely tamed. And weaker enemies like Modobaro the Bull. He passed out cold just from a glare, but if the enemy has a strong will, they won't go down easily. They'll feel pressure, sure, like a mental weight, but they can keep fighting. You can't force them to obey you. Now, here's where it gets wild. Shanks used his Haki to stop an admiral, Ryokugyu, from a whole island away. He didn't just scare him, he caused actual pain and paralysis. He even seemed to speak to him through Haki alone. Incapacitation. This is the most direct way Conquerors Haki shows up in battle. Unlike powers that use physical strength or fancy techniques, this one attacks the enemy's spirit. When someone uses Conquerors Haki, they release a wave of strong willpower. If the people around them have weak minds, they just pass out instantly. It's like their brains go, nope, too much pressure, I'm out. Now here's the deal. It all depends on the gap in willpower between the user and the targets. If your spirit isn't strong enough, you're toast. That's why Haki knockouts mostly affect background characters, random soldiers, henchmen, and NPCs that don't matter to the plot. So if someone doesn't faint when Haki is used, that's a low-key way of saying, okay, this guy is actually legit. Let's look at the numbers. Luffy knocked out 50,000 new Fishman pirates with a single burst of Haki. Shanks and Rayleigh, they've taken down 100,000 enemies with just their presence. That's basically soloing an army, just by standing there. But it's not only the weak who feel it. Even strong fighters can get dizzy or distracted when hit with powerful Haki. Only the top-tier characters can stand tall like nothing happened. Most people start using this power by accident. They shout during an emotional moment. Bam! Haki explodes, knocking out everyone nearby with weak willpower. It's a natural reflex for people with strong spirit, especially in high-stress situations. Over time, they can learn to control it better. Advanced users can knock people out with just a stare, or even while walking past them. They can also target specific people, so they don't hurt their allies or innocent bystanders. And get this, some users can keep their Haki active even if they're unconscious, just because their willpower is that strong. It's like their soul keeps fighting, even when their body's down. Now, here's the limit. This power doesn't work on people with equal or stronger willpower. In high-level battles, where everyone is mentally tough, Conquerors Haki becomes more of a pressure tool, not a win button. When you mix it with other types of Haki, things get even cooler. For example, use Observation Haki to find the weakest enemies. Then use Conquerors Haki just on them to save energy. It's efficient, it's stylish, and it's the true mark of a king. Infusion. This lets the user wrap their body or weapons in Conquerors Haki, turning pure willpower into actual destructive force. According to Kaido, only a handful of the strongest people in the world can use this technique. That tells you just how rare and powerful it is. And when someone can use it, the power difference is insane. For example, before learning this move, Luffy could barely scratch Kaido, even with advanced Armament Hockey. But once he mastered Conqueror's Haki coding, suddenly he's going toe-to-toe with the strongest creature in the world. We're talking about a whole new level of damage. So, in a way, it's the perfect fusion of Conqueror's Haki willpower and Armament Haki physical power. That's why everyone who can do this technique also has incredible Armament Haki control. It's how kings fight. Tying. And honestly, it might be the most magical Haki ability in the whole One Piece world. This power lets someone tie up or store their Conqueror's Haki into an object, like a rope or chain. And once it's tied in, that Haki can stay there for hundreds of years without losing any power. That's exactly what Joy Boy did almost 900 years ago. He tied his Haki into something, and it's still just as strong today. That's next-level legacy energy. And get this, while coding Conqueror's Haki is already considered rare, only a handful of the strongest can do it. Tying Haki is so rare, only Joy Boy has ever been known to do it. So this isn't just about raw strength anymore. It's about understanding the very nature of Haki, maybe even unlocking secrets from the ancient world that only Joy Boy knew. Instead of using Haki to knock people out or boost your punches, this technique lets you send your willpower into the future. Even after you're gone, your Haki and your message can still reach others. It's like emotional time travel. And there's more. Conqueror's Haki isn't just for attack or intimidation. It can also be used to shut down Observation Haki. Yes, some elite users can actually block the opponent's ability to see the future, one of the strongest parts of Observation Haki. Right now, only Shanks has been shown doing this. He can control his Haki aura so perfectly that it disrupts the other person's focus, making future sight impossible. This is a huge deal in fights against people like Katakuri, who rely on seeing into the future to dodge attacks. But how this really works is still a mystery. We don't know the full mechanics or the limits yet. All we know is it takes crazy strong willpower and complete mastery of your Conqueror's Haki. Alright, that's it for today. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.